Welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. Today is National Waitstaff Day. So here's to those who bring the barbecue before it sits on that little ledge too long, to the ones who don't put their thumb in your coleslaw, and to the ones who never let your jar of iced tea run dry. Because there's nothing worse than finishing the last bite of cornbread and finding that you're down to rattling ice cubes. Today, we're going to start at that sometimes broad area where politics and crime overlap, and we'll end up talking more about barbecue. Nick Saban will come up somewhere along the way. This report's so Alabama, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm Mike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Air Force Research Laboratory is partnering with Google Cloud using AI to accelerate defense research for air, space, and cyberspace forces. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American Innovation.
If you were running for public office, how much would a vote be worth to you? Okay, now, how much would a vote be worth in time spent behind bars? Here's a PSA for anybody who's feeling a little too much desperation at landing a spot on a county commission. A former county commission candidate pleaded guilty to voter fraud, reports AL.com's Carol Robinson. Terry Heflin, a Clay County Democrat, had been arrested on 7 counts of unlawful use of absentee ballots. He was accused of applying for these absentee ballots for other people and then using those ballots to vote for himself, which would take numerous ballots to make a difference in most elections. He pled guilty to 1 count and had the others dismissed. The sentence was a year and a day in prison, split to serve 15 days in jail with a $2,500 fine. Bill Lewis has replaced Jay Mitchell on the Alabama Supreme Court, reports AL.com's Mike Kaysen. Governor Kay Ivey announced the decision Tuesday. Justice Lewis previously served on the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals, also a position to which Ivey appointed him. Lewis is the 4th black justice on the state's high court, but he's the first in more than 20 years and the first black Republican on the 9-member court. Well, Nick Saban is now an Emmy-winning member of the media. The Emmys awarded Saban the Sports Emmy for Outstanding Personality / Emerging On-Air Talent, reports AL.com's Matt Stahl. Of course, Saban's notable broadcasting work came on ESPN's Game Day college football program. Before Tuesday's announcement, he was asked about his nomination and said that it, quote, must have been not a good year for people in the Emmys, end quote. And speaking of Game Day, Lee Corso, who's been with the show since its beginning in the 1980s, will step down after the first Saturday of the upcoming season. Now, a tradition on the show happens every Saturday when the panel picks the winner of the featured game. Coach Corso reveals his pick last by putting on the headgear of the team he's picking. For example, he might pick, say, out of the top of my head, Slippery Rock University to beat the University of Florida by donning the green mascot head of Rocky the Lion from Slippery Rock. Saban went on the Rick Burgess show last week and was asked whether he might inherit Coach Corso's assignment of donning the headgear. And I'm sorry to say, Saban indicated that was unlikely to happen. Here's an update for anyone who chose to start a new life in Huntsville 3 years ago because U.S. News and World Report ranked the Rocket City the best place to live in America. And this is your update. You're now number 85, reports AL.com's Scott Turner. Now, before you up and sell your newish home while the market is still outpacing most of the state, Note that U.S. News and World Report now evaluates more than 850 cities rather than the 150 that it's done in the past. So Huntsville may be down a little, but it's not really fallen off the map. The entire top 10 this year, for example, weren't even included in past data. The highest ranked Alabama city on the list this year is Hoover at number 25. Also in the top 250 are Decatur at 130, Daphne at 182, and Dothan at 190. The publication's number one best place to live in all of America was Johns Creek, Georgia, an Atlanta suburb. And there's one story from this past weekend I wanted to catch up on, make sure we mentioned. Big Bob Gibson Barbecue out of Decatur won its 13th pork shoulder championship at the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest, reports AL.com's Bob Carlton. The Big Bob Gibson team also placed second in the overall Grand Champion category and second in the Kingsford Tour of Champions, which was voted on by people who attended the Memphis event. Quality barbecue, by the way, should be a major criteria on that U.S. News and World Report Best Places to Live list. Hey, we're still recording some of these quizzes on Thursdays. If you want in on it and are able to come on the podcast Thursday afternoons for publication Fridays, shoot me an email, imorgan, IMORGAN, at AL.com with quiz in the subject line. We'll try to get you on the schedule. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. We'll be back here again in the morning. Until then, y'all come by and see what we're doing anytime you want to. We're on the World Wide Web at AL.com.